All right, so today we're going to dive into a project that makes some incredibly bold claims. We're talking about a future with no crime, a financial system completely outside of government control, and an internet that's totally independent. And it's all part of a vision called ENTIFY.
So what's at the heart of all this? Well, the project asks a really massive question. Can we actually use technology to engineer a world where crime is, just not possible? I mean, it's a huge claim, right? So okay, let's get into it. So how are they going to pull off this crime-free future? Well, they're not just pitching ENTIFY as another new gadget or app. They're saying it's the actual solution to the fundamental security flaws that plague both our digital and our physical lives. And get this, the founder, Toby Jacobs, he calls it the ultimate solution. He's claiming they've cracked some fundamental math problems in blockchain, stuff that's apparently stumped everyone else for years. Bold stuff. So what are we actually talking about here? What is ENTIFY? Well, the sources lay it out as this whole ecosystem, a complete package. It's designed from the ground up to be totally private, totally secure, totally independent, and, as they put it, unstoppable. Okay, so the absolute foundation, the bedrock of this whole vision, is building a communications network that's completely off-grid. It runs on its own, no cell towers, no internet providers needed. They call it the radio mesh network.
They're talking about a military-grade radio mesh network. And the easiest way to picture it, think of a giant web of walkie-talkies. Your phone isn't just a phone anymore. It's also a mini tower, broadcasting and receiving signals to other phones around it.
It's a really simple idea, but it's super powerful. Your phone talks to the phone next to you, which talks to the one next to it, and they all link up. It creates this huge decentralized web that, and this is the crazy part, actually gets stronger the more people join.
And because the network is literally built by the people using it, the project makes this huge claim. The only way to shut it down? You'd have to go and confiscate every single device. That's why they call it totally unstoppable.
All right, so you've got this unstoppable network, but now you have a new problem. How do you know who's actually on it? How do you make sure everyone is a real person and not some bot? Well, that's where this physical card comes into play.
Imagine your contactless credit card, right? Now imagine if that card was the key to your entire digital life. That's the idea here. You'd physically tap this card on your phone to prove it's you and to get access to, well, everything.
And here's where it gets really interesting. This is the core security claim. In most crypto systems, your private key, the thing that unlocks all your stuff, is stored online somewhere, which makes it a target for hackers. What ENTIFY is saying is, let's take that key and put it on a physical card, completely offline. If it's not online, they argue, how can a remote hacker possibly steal it? It makes physical access necessary.
This right here, this is the secret sauce. Because you have to have this physical card, it proves you're a real living person. They call it proof of life. And the whole point of that? To get rid of all the bots, the fake accounts, the scammers, the entire digital phantom population.
And that proof of life system, it lets them do something pretty radical. They're proposing what they call a proofless blockchain. So, you know how Bitcoin uses all that energy for proof of work and Ethereum uses proof of stake? Well, they're saying you don't need any of that. The trust is already built into the system because everyone has a physical card. And if you can skip those steps, your blockchain can be incredibly lightweight, fast, and scalable.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got an independent network, and we've got a secure way to prove everyone's a real person. What's next? Well, the next piece of the puzzle is connecting all of this to actual physical stuff in the real world.
This is how they plan to bridge that gap between the digital world and the physical one. According to the source, you can take a tiny little NFC chip, just like the one in your credit card for tap to pay, and embed it in pretty much anything. A gold bar, a car, a piece of art, you name it. That chip then links that physical item to a unique token on their blockchain. The sources give this great example, buying a car. So the car gets a digital tag, turning into an NFT. You buy that NFT online with crypto. The second you do, ownership is recorded on the blockchain. And now, your phone, after you tap your card to it, is literally the key. You could just walk up, open the door, and drive away. No salesperson, no paperwork, nothing.
And this ability to link to real-world things is what leads to their big idea for a true stablecoin. See, instead of a coin just being pegged to the price of gold, they're talking about a system where one token would equal 1 gram of actual physical gold that's been tagged and locked into their blockchain. It's a direct one-to-one relationship.
So when you start putting all these pieces together, right,
the off-grid network, the proof of life ID, the asset-backed money, you suddenly realize the true scale of what they're aiming for. This isn't just about a new app or a new crypto. The ambition here is to build an entire parallel society.
Yeah, I'm not exaggerating. The documentation literally lays out a vision for a whole new society. We're talking about a self-contained financial system, a digital ID that's so secure it could work as a passport, and even a new legal framework that's based on pure mathematical proof. The whole shebang. So how are they going to get there? Well, they've laid out a three-stage roadmap. Stage 1, which they're aiming for in early 2026, is to release a decentralized chat app to start building the network. After that comes the NFT card we've been talking about. And the final piece of the puzzle? Their own custom smartphone, built from the ground up to run on this mesh network.
So ENTIFY pitches itself as the ultimate freedom technology, right? Freedom from crime, from hackers, from control. But it leaves us with a really big question to chew on. If you have a technology that can perfectly track every single asset and authenticate every single person, where does total freedom end and total traceability or maybe even total control begin? It's a tricky line to walk and definitely something worth thinking about.